Nice one.
Greetings. You look awful, lad.
I'm back because of those wolves of yours.
Ah, I'm glad to see you alive and healthy. How did it go?
You don't need to worry about them anymore.
You don't say. What a relief it is to hear that. Here's something for your help, just like I promised.
I didn't find my dog among them.
Did you try to ask our gamekeeper? He might be a drunk, but he'd probably notice a stray dog in the woods. He doesn't live far away, down the hill here along the road, right on the rock above the pond.
I wanted to tell you something about Ignatius.
Did something happen to him?
No, nothing happened. He survived, and he's probably back with the flock by now.
I'm glad to hear that. He's a stubborn fool, but I'm fond of him. Take care.
Hail.
How you doing? I'm Henry.
Nice to meet you. I'm Zdeněk. I'm a storyteller. I could tell you stories so sad they'd make the devil cry. Or would you prefer something so scary it'll make the hairs on your ass turn white? But it's a lot of hard work for me. Now, if you had something to drink or a couple of groschen, that might help loosen my tongue.
To your health, my friend.
Thank you very much. I knew you wouldn't leave me high and dry. So what kind of story would you like to hear?
Tell me a sad story.
Wise choice. Nothing better than a nice tragedy. What's more, when people cry, they get thirsty. So then they need another drink, and sometimes buy me one too. So, once upon a time, there lived in these very lands 2 brothers. The older was called Kuba, the younger, Matthias. They were both woodcutters, like their father and his father before him. One day, at the height of summer, they were working in the woods. The air was as hot as a furnace, so Matthias went to a nearby pond to cool himself. But as he was leaning over the cold water, there was a loud splash. His axe had got loose from his belt. In haste, he began to search the muddy bed of the pond, and his hands soon touched something hard and heavy. He pulled it out and could not believe his eyes. He pulled out an axe. Yes, but not his old one. It was an axe made of pure silver.
Good God. I'd grab that without a second thought.
Maybe you would, but Matthias would never. He was an honest man, and with a big swing he threw the silver axe back. He searched the pond again, and this time he pulled out his own axe. Nothing but dull iron and old wood.
Wait, Matthias threw the silver axe back? What a fool! He could have sold it.
A fool, you say? You'd better listen well. Matthias was just about to leave when suddenly a water goblin came out of the pond, silver axe in his hands, and he said, "You're a righteous man, Matthias, and for your honesty, you may keep both axes." Matthias, not hanging around for the goblin to change his mind, took up both axes, gave us thanks, and ran to tell Kuba all about it. Kuba, however, was not best pleased with his little brother's fortune. He deeply envied Matthias for his newfound wealth. So, he set out to try the same thing. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him straight to the pond, threw his own axe in, and began a pretend search for it. Yet Kuba had no luck. He pulled out the axe he'd thrown in himself. So he tried again. Tricked by sunlight, he grabbed something shiny, only to pull out his old iron axe again. Enraged, he hurled his axe back into the water and yelled, "Fuck this axe! I want a silver one." But the water goblin heard his shameful cry and was greatly upset by Kuba's greed. So, when Kuba reached down into the water for a third time, the water goblin seized his hand, pulled him down a hole to the dark depths, and drowned him.
Oh, that's so cruel. I feel sorry for Kuba.
Aye, and so did Matthias. He went to the water goblin and begged for his brother's body so he could take him home and bury him. But the path back from the pond led over a steep hill, and carrying the weight of the waterlogged body exhausted Matthias. He stopped to rest by an old oak tree, and he used a silver axe to cut off a branch that would serve as a walking stick. But it wasn't enough. Somehow, it was still getting harder to continue up the hill. Then Matthias realized it wasn't his brother's body that was weighing him down. It was the silver axe. The axe was the cause of all this trouble. So he started bashing the silver axe against the big stone with all his might, trying to destroy it. Yet no matter what, he couldn't even make a dent. With the last of his strength, Matthias climbed to the top of the hill. He knew he could go no further, so he found a pretty spot with a view over the valley and dug his brother a grave. There, he buried both his brother and the silver axe that had brought such pain upon them. His final act was to stick the oak branch in the ground by the grave. But lo and behold, the branch grew green leaves and became a tree. The locals have had no dealings with the water goblin since then, but some have had the bad luck to bump into him. And when you walk by the pier, where it all happened, you can still hear his chuckling.
That was a very nice story.
Story? What story? It's the truth.
Why hasn't anyone gone looking for the axe then?
Because it brings misfortune. Didn't you listen to me at all? Look for yourself if you wish. Rock Tower Pond isn't far from here. The Water Goblin's pier is somewhere among the reeds. But leave me out of it. I'm fine here with my drink. Take care, friend.
Did I forget to add salt?
Are you going to do what we talked about?
Aye, of course. Ave Maria. Good day.
You have a beautiful maypole. Does that mean life here is just as beautiful?
Aye, we're doing pretty well, and our fellows guard that maypole well.
But if they're guarding it, who's doing the other work?
That's why they take turns. Our owl sheik was guarding it not long ago, but now the neighbor's lad, Henrik, is in charge of it. At least he doesn't have the time to fool around at night.
Do you know Henrik at all?
He started going out with our monka a while ago, but we put a stop to it. In short, he's not exactly the kind of fella I want in my family.
Why? Did he do something to you?
I don't want him whisking Manka away so we never see her again. His parents came here shortly after that terrible plague. There was a vacant farm, so they settled there. They had 3 sons, Henrik being the youngest. Say, have you met his brothers?
I haven't, though I can't say I made an effort to.
Well, you couldn't have met them even if you wanted, because they're not here. Both of them left. They say the younger one had a sweetheart in Troskowitz and took her with him. Nobody knows where they ended up.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You make a good point.
I'm telling you, one of these days, he's going to pack up and disappear. And I don't want him taking our monka along with him. He doesn't like folks talking about it. But wandering's in his blood whether he likes it or not. He's even got into fights over it. Just mentioning it is enough for him to clench his fists. I don't want Monka wasting her time with someone like him. You should try that on him.
Is Al-Sheikh your son?
Hi, he's our boy, but he's giving Prochek a headache because he doesn't like having to herd sheep. Ask him about it if you want. See you soon, my friend.
How's Alshik?
Tuh, how do you think? Great, of course. Pa's favourite.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know... Pa came up with this idea that he'd send Al-Sheikh to the bailiffs to learn to read and write. And that someday, when he's older, he'll get his own rat house.
Well, that's nice of him, isn't it?
I just wish he thought of what's best for me from time to time. It's always Al-Sheikh this, Al-Sheikh that. Ugh! Why even bother?
That's a beautiful maypole. We never had one quite like it back home.
Aye, ours is the prettiest. And also the only one in these parts. That's why we keep a close eye on it. Nobody's managed to steal it in recent years, but not for a lack of trying. Except, I feel sorry for my poor Hinyik, having to worry about it.
Henyuk?
He's my... sweetheart, I suppose. It's complicated.
Complicated? Is something wrong?
Well, since you asked, my parents forbid us from seeing each other. They're all up in arms over it. They're just not fond of him. So we have to meet in secret, which is impossible now, since Henyek doesn't have the time because he has to watch the maypole.
Well, what if someone took over for him and he had some free time tonight?
I'd like to see that. He's tired, but it's a matter of honor for him. Besides, the others wouldn't be happy if they found out.
We'll see.
Take care then. My God, this is killing me.
That's a beautiful maypole you have there. You don't see that every day. I reckon all the other villagers must envy you.
They sure do. Them Zhelievites try to steal it, but our fellas kick their asses. Why are you so interested in it anyway?
I know from experience how hard it is to guard a maypole like that. I used to stand guard myself.
Well, there you go. Then I'm sure you know what it's like to be envied by everyone around. And if someone had bad intentions, Henrik would show them how we do things here in Tachov. That's the one thing he's good for.
I wanted to ask about Henrik.
What about him?
Did he do something to you? Sounds like you're not exactly fond of him.
Aye, I'm not. He's been getting on my nerves ever since he got together with our Manka. I'm afraid he'll mess with her head and run off with her. Just like his bloody brothers did.
Where did they go?
What do I know? One day they just packed up and wandered off. Their village wasn't good enough for them, I reckon. I wouldn't mind if someone went and beat the thoughts of Manka out of his head. Maybe someone not from around here.
You're not the first to mention something like that.
I reckon Voika told you about it already, didn't she? No wonder. We both only want what's best for our daughter.
That shepherd, Alshik, is he your son?
Aye, that's my boy. He's going to be really important one day. I arranged for him to learn from Bailiff Trush, so he'll have a better life. But now it's his turn to look after the livestock, so he can't go there. What a waste of time.
What's new around here?
Nothing new. It's quiet here, fortunately.
Can I spend the night here?
We're not set up for that here.
Just the one night's enough. All I need is to spend the night.
I'll let you sleep on the hay for a couple of groschen.
Agreed. I'll pay. Here's some groschen for you.
Fine. Feel free to sleep on the hay, but don't go wandering around my home.
Where should I lie down?
You can sleep up there in the barn, but be careful. The ladder is all rickety. was good to see you, my friend.
So, this is your famous maypole.
Why is this sticky?
Beautiful maypole you have here. I hear it's the only one in these parts.
Aye, it's the only one around here. Our lads took everyone else's. They're the champions. We just have to keep a good eye on it now. But that's up to Henyek. And why are you so interested in it, eh?
I just wanted to be polite.
I bet you did. I hope you're not up to something.
Shit. Oh, well. Now just this.
Innkeeper, have you got anything to eat?
How can I help you today, friend?
I'm here then. You said in the alehouse that you could do with a helping hand at the forge, didn't you?
I could. My last two hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. Ah, what's your name? Henry?
That's right.
You should know, Henry. The blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge. Go over to the anvil and let's get started. Get to it. I want to see how you'll fare. Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up bit by bit. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. It works the bellows. See? It's the color of straw, which is what you want. And you heated the whole thing up. Nicely done. Now you can go straight to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. God's wounds. Hurry up and move the sword. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway. Henry, when you've got a workpiece heated up, you can't just stand there and gape at it. It's cooled now. You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. Get a move on. I'd like to get some other things done today. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. See that? Besides the sparks, you can tell a good strike by the sound it makes. That's the ring you want. Well struck. how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. When I hammer a piece to a beat, the work goes by easier. Sometimes I'll whistle to myself to keep the rhythm going. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking. Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
How do I know a good strike from a bad one?
By the sparks that fly up, and by the ring. It rings out with a different sound when you do it right.
What good does it do me to whistle while I work?
It makes you work to a rhythm. You won't get tired so quickly, and the iron feels it.
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Why should I forge evenly?
If you keep hammering the same spot, you'll never finish it. You'll just fuck it up. But jumping from one end to the other ain't a good idea neither. You'd end up working unevenly. The best thing to do is aim each strike next to the one before.
What's the right way to heat up the workpiece?
Do it till it turns the color of straw. Ideally, the color should be the same everywhere, if your forging's going to be even. The main thing is, don't work it cold. You just ruin it. But don't overheat it either. As soon as sparks start to fly off it in the furnace, take it out.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
What can I do with the items I've forged?
Well, you can sell them. Though you probably won't have much luck around here. But I'll happily buy some of the nicer things from you.
Where can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. And they can't afford it neither.
Where exactly is my bed?
At the side of the house. There are 2 doors and a wheelbarrow between them. You go in by the rear door, next to the woodshed. And you can put your things in the chest there. Don't worry, nobody'll steal them.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right, here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work.
This is sharp enough as it is. All done.
Fucking steel.
Let's talk about the price.
Very well.
Satisfied?
That sounds really interesting. Lower your price a little more, and I'll be satisfied. Very well, then. Pleasure doing business. Take care.
Interesting. Beautiful.